So today we're gonna be doing a Bob Ross style paint-along stream. I have brought my alter ego, who is definitely not also a character artist, to teach you how to paint a background today. Okay, so here is our reference image. I'm gonna have it like, it's gonna be like this, but I'll have it kind of small. All right, are you ready to meet my alter ego, VTUBER Bob Ross? This will be your first time meeting them, so you have to be nice to her, okay? All right, you have to promise, okay? VTUBER Bob Ross, come on out. Hello, my name is VTUBER Bob Ross, and I'd like to welcome you to our little show today. I'd like to invite you to paint with me, whether that's on a canvas, on your iPad, on your PC, or anything else that you have. It's our own little world together. VTUBER may be a character artist. I am not. I am the greatest environment painter there was to ever live. Why don't we get started, shall we? So, I will be approaching this painting today like I would traditionally. We are going to be working from the back forwards, which means we will be starting with the sky. Now, as you can see, our reference image in the top right-hand corner, we will be looking at that to make our own little version, okay? Now, I'm gonna need you to pull out your blue paint or choose a blue color on your color wheel, and we will get started. I want to make this painting a bit more saturated than the reference image. Before I started, however, I did lay in a sketch to make things a bit easier. Usually I would be able to do this without a sketch, but I'm obviously not a character artist, so I have no trouble without sketches. Yes, VTUBER was just a little bit nervous that I wouldn't be able to do this on camera perfectly. Need you to grab your blue. I'm thinking we are going to... My fro is trying to escape my scalp. I don't know what you mean. This is coming out of my head. I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, the sky in this painting, besides the clouds, is looking to be one of the lightest values. We want to choose a lighter but saturated blue. And the sky always has a bit of a gradient to it, actually. Like so. All right. The first thing you'd like to do when you start an environment painting is you want to start laying in the shapes. The big swooping shapes. And what are our big swooping shapes in our piece, our reference image here? It's going to be the mountains, the trees, and the ground planes. We're going to be starting with the backmost piece, the mountains. I like to leave the clouds for later, personally, because it really adds a bit more of like, you know what, I'm trying to justify this, but I don't actually know why I do the clouds last. Let's start laying in on a new layer. Let's start laying in our large shapes. Now you want to use big brushes for the initial lay-ins so your shapes are more confident. We are going to take a more yellow toned green for the foreground. All right, personally, I like to fill in all the white, but you know, it may lead to something more interesting if you leave that there and you paint over it. I'm looking for a chalk brush that would work nicely to indicate grass from far away. Maybe this one? Now, even if you are a beginner, it's very important to paint with confidence. Even if you feel like you're making mistakes, you might turn your piece, what you think are mistakes, into happy accidents. Because you can always learn to work with your quote-unquote mistakes when it comes to painting. A lot of painting is just experimenting until you find something that feels correct. Now, I would like to lay in this house before we start really getting in there with all of the fun textures and things on the bushes and, you know, the power lines that are present in our reference image. I can use my polygonal lasso tool, lay in a bit of this. It's like a light ink tan color almost. I'm gonna keep it on this side of the... Oh, you can't see me indicating. I'm gonna keep it on the warmer side of the color spectrum here. Now, if I was working on this traditionally, I don't think I'd be laying in the house quite yet on my canvas or my paper, just because there's going to be a lot of noodling that goes on back here with all of the grass and the trees. But digitally, I wanted to put this down just so I had a more of a grounding object, if that makes sense. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit more of a saturated orange tone and just paint in the roof very quickly. Alright, now I am going to start laying in some of our little happy trees on the sides. We have some of our darkest darks to work off of here. There's a brush in my library called Scrumble. Who the f named these brushes? Because it wasn't me. Now with trees, it's almost always just a bit of a... I want to think about it as like one big shape. I don't want to think about them as individual objects or plants. You want to group them together like so. Now I'm just adding a bit of light on top of our little tree friends here. Since the tops of trees you want to have lighter and the bottoms you want to have darker, just due to how, you know, light works. Paint water sounds like it tastes colorful. I promise you, chat, it does not taste good at all. Now keep in mind, as things get further away from our viewpoint, they're going to get lighter or less saturated in color. It's called atmospheric perspective. They get hazier and a little bit harder to make out with your eye. I think this can just be a dome shape. I wanted to add a bit of detail, but I think it throws off a bit of the flow. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is we are going to take this highlight tone from the trees here, or mid-tone. We are going to use it as a very dark shadow tone, shadow color. I'm using the wrong painting terminology. For this grass here. For this grass, kind of, the hill is kind of meeting the flat plane of the ground. We are going to take this and look at our reference image. Also a large shadow right up here. Okay. Now I realized I painted over this little dark patch. This needs to be more like this, pointing towards where the next set of houses is. This is also out too far. I'm now realizing this needs to be cut off right about here. Now we're going to get these other houses. So this is almost the same color. This one here is almost the same color as our other house. However, a teeny bit more saturated. I think it's like a tan color. This looks nothing like a house right now, but it's okay. All things will resolve themselves in time. We will figure it out. Now, there are also some telephone poles here. They're great for helping your viewer kind of understand the scale of everything here. There are also some houses over here that share a bit of a similar color. Now, I do think that I need to put another layer here for these houses so they easily go behind these trees here. Okay, now that we've pretty much laid in everything, we can put down where we want the clouds to be, and then we can start adding some more detail here. Alright, now we can hide our sketch layer, and this is what we have so far here. Now, I want to get some texture in for this backmost hill here, so I'm going to try and dust in a little more texture up top here. What I'm going to do now is going to take a blue dark value here, get a bit of darkness here. There are also trees here, so I'm going to try and indicate that there are trees here. Like getting a quick layer of this dark blue color, just as dark as this green we have going on right here. I'm going to kind of stamp this in a little bit We're going to reduce dramatically the amount of dark that's here, but to keep things loose, it's usually best to start big and then go small again. It's a little hard to properly indicate these trees when I'm not even quite sure what brushes I have. I'm going to erase out some of this texture. I feel like it's a little, in some places it's a little distracting. But it's okay in some. I think less is more for sure when it comes to this. Now, we're gonna take some of... Love that. Thank you, computer. More of a yellow toned green and kind of dust it across the tops of this to help out a little more light here. I think maybe try out one of these weird brushes like Scrumble. This area is such a strange part of the piece. Even in the photo, it's so weird. As you can see, trees are just a bunch of little scribbles, chat. That's what they usually amount to, is just scribbles. Alright, chat. I think I'm calling this done. I think I might make some finishing touches for the end of stream, but let's take a look at everybody else's, at least Lady Hex's stuff, right? Yo, Hex, this turned out sick. I like all the textures that you used. Very pog. What did you use for this? Impressionist texture brush. Very cool. I like the sky the most. The sky I think turned out really cool. I like all of the... It almost looks like those, it almost looks like tile. I am a fan. Yo, let's go. I love how blue your shadows are. I like the cloud shapes too. This looks really good. Thank you for painting along. Yay, it makes me so happy when people paint along with me. It's so fun. I for sure learned, and that's what matters most. Is the two things that matter most when you're painting are learning and having fun. And I hope at least working on a painting or watching me paint, it was fun, or you learned something. But oh, my beard. Oh no, my beard came off. Oh, you didn't see that. All right, chat. Say goodbye to Bear Ross. She might come back again, but who knows? It might be a while. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was really fun. Thank you again for hanging out and painting with me. Made me very, very happy. I love you all very, very much. I will see you very soon. Thank you again for all the support, the follows, the subs, all that stuff. All right, let's raid out in. Oh, stay hydrated and cool and wear your sunscreen, chat. Bear Ross says to wear your sunscreen.